Hey y'all, it's the Plant Ninja. Today's video is going to be about keyhole gardens. And essentially a keyhole garden is a type of raised garden bed with a central compost bin and a notch on one side to allow you to easily access that compost bin. Keyhole gardens were first established in the 1990s for a drought-plagued nation in South Africa, but they're really valuable where water restrictions or drought are issues. The primary benefit of a keyhole garden is that it requires less water, but it does allow for good drainage due to the design of the garden itself. It also doesn't require any form of fertilizer. Essentially, the nutrients come from that central compost bin. And because most keyhole gardens are at least waist high, it can help avoid bending and stooping, saving your back and knees. Next, we'll go over the different components you're going to need for the keyhole garden. The wall itself is typically circular and made of stone, rock, or brick, but other materials can be used. I did go ahead and use a concrete stone for my retaining wall. For the central compost bin, I did use this poultry fence made out of plastic and shaped it in a circular fashion, securing it with metal ties. But honestly, I think it would be better to use something more rigid, like either a wire mesh or a coated wire mesh fence. Next, we'll go into your fill materials, and this is essentially what you're going to fill the retaining wall with. This is broken down into either brown materials or green materials. For the brown materials, we're talking about dead leaves and grass, small twigs, paper, and lots of cardboard. For your greens, we're talking about kitchen scraps, coffee grounds or tea bags, fresh grass clippings, manure, inexpensive soil. You can even use inexpensive bulk pet food. Probably one of the most important things that you're going to need to consider is where you're going to place your keyhole garden. And that really depends on what you plan on growing in the keyhole garden. Do consider how much sun these plants will need. Will it be 6 hours? Will it be 8? Will it be more? Before you actually begin to build this. So my plan is for a 5-foot diameter garden, and I laid the first layer on level ground, creating a small notch. In the subsequent layers, I shifted the stone so that the seams would not line up. I didn't use any adhesives or mortar, so I found that alternating seam to be very helpful in creating stability. Next, I'm going to line the garden bed with pre-moistened cardboard and paper, and essentially I just took a bunch of old cardboard and paper I no longer needed and set it in a kiddie pool with a bunch of water. To create the central compost bin, I took about a 40-inch length of mesh, circling it around itself, securing with wire ties to create about a 12-inch central compost bin. Then I essentially just began to fill the compost bin. I used the heavier, bulkier material at the bottom just to help facilitate drainage. And then as I came to the top, I filled it in with manure and soil and just kind of mixed it all together. So those are the basics of a keyhole garden. A really great resource that I learned a lot from was Dr. Deb Tolman, who is a fellow Texan. I will make sure to link her information in the description box. When you utilize your keyhole garden, it is important to note that you're wanting to water that compost bin so that the nutrients, the water carries those nutrients from the compost bin out to the soil. Of course, you can always water your plants themselves, but that's where the bulk of the watering is meant to go. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and y'all take care.